none of us, I don't think any of us think differently. Like all of us, I think, know that we're not alone in how we feel right now. But that's all just to say that also, like, none of us are alone in this feeling. Like, this world is sinking, and this world is changing, and it's doing both those things in ways in which that are really hard and hurtful, and ways in which that, there are the days when, like, I hope that I and the people I know in my life and the people I don't know in my life are still here when whatever form and shape this new world emerges as. And some days there's not a lot of hope towards that, but some days there are. And so, just offering up little slivers of that hope to folks perhaps this evening. Sometimes I would lay in the garden and pretend I was a carrot. Sometimes I would curl under the leaves and I became a head of lettuce. Sometimes I would bury my soft paws in the softer earth and I was a rabbit. Sometimes in the garden I was a rock. Sometimes I was two rocks. Sometimes two rocks becoming three rocks. Sometimes in the garden as a rock, I was picked up and held, cool and smooth in a palm, or warmed by some sun from above. Sometimes in the garden as a rock, I waited hundreds of years, and it was only the wind that touched me. Sometimes I waited thousands of years, and not even the wind could move me. Sometimes night would arrive to the garden with a full moon glowing like the skin of an orange-skinned woman in a more orange dress, and the night would use that moon to say to me, look, you are like how I am, and see how bright my body sometimes becomes. Sometimes I wait for spring. Always I have waited for spring and for its love to return out of the cold and with flowers on her fingertips. Things I love. The blues a night sky makes. The bowls it holds for the stars to shine inside of. The sound of a fire moving its tongue against the wood. Riding bicycles with friends. Learning of the lives of others. Getting to know our best and worst birthdays. I love a holy sunset which feels like the sky is praying to me, to us, asking us to look at it and know the fierce colors that lay in its clouds. That even the sky needs but the right hour, the right persons looking up at it, knowing what beauty the sky holds inside itself, just waiting to pour forth. I love the crows en masse. They're crossing inside that prayer, bunched together in their loudness at day's end. Their flight looking like the sky breaking apart to spread itself farther. I love a spreading further in order to come closer, to see what we might arrive at, a wandering with intent. I love not making plans and making plans, scheming schemes, building the idea of an art like it was a boat that becomes bigger upon being greeted by the water it asks to touch its hull. How the ocean wants to hold us, but doesn't always know how. I love that even the ocean does not know things. Even the ocean struggles to move against its nature, and in this way maybe becomes more. I love colors, how they lay on us and hold us, when they make an object but a plane of their shade, the way they solid and smooth and spill and wash pale are so deep. I love colors so much. How do I love a thing so much that has no form, nothing to touch, simply is? Well, I suppose, is this not what all love is? Even an object holding our love is but a placeholder for us to try, and with our palms touch the intangible, how the body too is like this. I love writing love poems, more so the living of them. I love writing in ink a scrap of a note, even as my desk becomes flooded by scraps of notes, whether they say fuzzy rhythmic vocals, or a sunflower taught me a poem, or the emptiness is a missing, or are simply measurements for my sleeves. When the sun lands on one spot, I love this. Eating fruit off a bush in a street, or pulled from a tree, or fallen from a branch, hugging friends goodbye, even though I hate goodbyes, when full houses become empty except for me, when an emptied house becomes full again, learning something new, the thought of sewing a quilt with a friend and their mother, taking February to begin piano lessons, the piano, I love the piano. I love when someone plays the piano, when you did not know they could play the piano, when they don't feel they know how to play the piano. But there they are, in this soft quiet that kisses the two of you playing it. And my heart inside this soft quiet is going from bud to bloom to petals on the floor in one breath. I love that people want to share things with each other, even when sometimes we do not know how to do this. Is this not too what love itself is? You sharing you, and me sharing me, and us sharing and being shared with each other, back and forth, for whatever length always may be.